Hello and a very warm welcome. I am Gushin Galan and you're watching Firstpost. In the next few minutes, I get you the top 40 updates from around the world, only here on Fast and Factual. Let's get started. We start with the US, where a federal appeals court has temporarily reinstated President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs. This comes a day after a US trade court had blocked the tariffs, ruling that Trump had exceeded his authority in imposing them. The White House criticized the ruling, saying America cannot function when diplomatic or trade negotiations are railroaded by activist judges. The White House has announced that Israel has approved a new ceasefire proposal for Gaza. However, talks with Hamas are still ongoing. According to reports, Hamas has rejected the proposal, calling it a continuation of violence and starvation in Gaza. Hamas has alleged that the deal fails to meet their key demand, which includes a complete halt to the war. Now to West Asia, Yemen-based Houthis have claimed a missile attack on Israel's Ben Gurion Airport. Authorities said that the attack forced Israelis to flee and halted air traffic. Meanwhile, the Israeli military said it intercepted a missile launched from Yemen. The Houthi attack came a day after Israeli strike on Sanaa airport. Now moving to updates from war in Europe. A Russian drone attack in Sumy killed one and injured another. The attack also triggered a massive fire. This as the Russian forces have pushed over the border into northeast Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Russia has targeted 50,000 troops near Sumy region. Moscow has called for the Russia-India-China trilateral. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said it's time to revive Troika as India and China have reached an understanding on the border situation. He also accused NATO of trying to lure India into anti-China intrigues, calling it a large provocation. The BRIC Troika has been frozen since the 2020 Galwan Valley clashes. In South Asia, Indian Home Minister Amit Shah visited Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch district today. He met with the families affected by Pakistani shelling along the line of control or the LOC. The visit followed the success of India's Operation Sindoor. North Korea's Kim Jong-un reportedly led a party meeting on strengthening the country's military. According to North Korean state media, he also inspected a military artillery drill. He reportedly said that it is important to frequently organize firing contests that are close to the actual warfare environment for building a powerful force. A South Korean Navy maritime patrol aircraft crashed in Fogang City. The crash killed all 4 people on board. Smoke was seen rising from crash site, prompting an immediate emergency response. The cause of the incident is still under probe. Protests continued in Bolivia as demonstrators hit the streets to oppose a deepening economic crisis. Protesters torched barricades and banged pots. The unrest took a political color as supporters of former President Evo Morales also joined the rallies. The United Nations Secretariat is preparing to slash about 6,900 jobs. This is according to a reported internal memo. The international body is reportedly preparing to cut its $3.7 billion budget by 20%. On to climate news now. A growing wildfire crisis in Western Canada has now triggered a state of emergency in Saskatchewan. This is adding to an already dire situation in neighbouring Manitoba. Saskatchewan Premier described the conditions as possibly the worst the province has ever faced, with 14 wildfires currently burning out of control. Just a day earlier, over 17,000 people were ordered to evacuate in Manitoba, where wildfires prompted a separate emergency declaration. At least 21 people died and over a dozen are missing after torrential rain hit 2 communities in Nigeria's Niger state. More than 50 homes were submerged, local emergency officials confirmed. Such search and rescue operations are ongoing. The incident highlights Nigeria's vulnerability to deadly floods during its rainy season, which began in April. Floods in Romania's Harghita county are threatening the Pret salt mine, one of Europe's largest and a major tourist draw. Authorities have closed the site as nearby streams continue to rise, flooding part of the mine. Locals fear devastating economic impact as tourism around the salt mine has supported the region for decades. Kenya's grey-crowned cranes are disappearing fast, with the population down to 10,000 from 35,000 in 1986. Found mainly in eastern and southern Africa, the bird is now endangered due to habitat loss, illegal trade and climate change. Conservationists led by International Crane Foundation are working to protect its last strongholds in Nadi County, where it still thrives in protected grasslands. The African Development Bank is preparing to launch the Africa Carbon Support Facility. This is to help the continent tap into global carbon markets. The program will assist governments in building regulatory frameworks and expand the infrastructure needed for trading credits. Bank officials say this could turn carbon credits into tradable commodities on African stock exchanges, unlocking funds for climate resilience. On to business and tech news now. Shares in Asian markets fall, with Japan's Nikkei dropping 1.7% earlier today after a court ruling temporarily reinstated US President Trump's tariffs. Hong Kong's Hang Seng lost 1.4%, while China's blue chip index eased 0.3% in early trading. The broader MSCI index of Asia Pacific shares excluding Japan was down 0.4%, tracking a dip in US futures. Meanwhile, a new report suggests President Trump's trade war has cost global companies over $34 billion in lost sales and rising costs. The report warns that the toll is set to climb, and ongoing tariff uncertainty paralyzes decision-making at some of the world's biggest companies. U.S. defense contractor Northrop Grumman invests $50 million into space startup Firefly Aerospace. Northrop's investment comes as interest in space startups heats up, especially under President Donald Trump. The funding supports development of the two companies' joint rocket named Eclipse, and it is set to launch from Virginia as early as next year. The U.S. aviation regulator extends by 3 years a program that allows Boeing to carry out agency tasks like inspection. The regulator says the plane maker has shown improvements in safety and quality control. The move comes after a 737 MAX 9 incident in January last year, which prompted a federal production cap and tougher oversight of the company. Wells Fargo says it has signed a deal to sell its rail equipment leasing business to a newly formed joint venture between railcar lessor GATX Corporation and Brookfield Infrastructure. The deal includes over 100,000 rail cars and a finance lease portfolio worth $4.4 billion. Moving to quarterly earnings report, electronics retailer Best Buy cuts its full-year projections for sales and profit. The company cites US tariffs weighing on consumer demand for big-ticket items. The retailer says it plans to stay completely priced despite higher costs. Hyundai Motors is reportedly considering a 1% price increase. The increase will be across its entire US vehicle lineup to offset tariff impacts. The hike would reportedly affect newly built vehicles, not cars already in dealer lots. Hyundai may also raise shipping and option fees to avoid higher base prices. The US Securities and Exchange Commission voluntarily dismisses its lawsuit against Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange. The move reflects a shift in cryptocurrency regulation under President Trump's administration. Billionaire Elon Musk says his Starship rocket may make its first uncrewed trip to Mars by the end of next year. This comes 2 days after Starship's latest test flight failed, spinning out of control and exploding mid-air. Musk says the mission timeline depends on successful flight tests and orbital refueling, giving a 50-50 chance of meeting the deadline. OpenAI says it should be allowed to keep its countersuit against billionaire Elon Musk. The company says its countersuit accuses Musk of fraudulent business practices. This comes after Musk led a $97 billion bid for OpenAI earlier this year. OpenAI insists the countersuit should proceed without delay. Moving to sports, we begin with cricket. Bengaluru demolished Punjab with an 8-wicket win to reach their first IPL final since 2016. After taking to field in New Chandigarh, Bengaluru bowled out Punjab at 101 runs. Suyash Sharma and Josh Hazlewood took 3 wickets each. In response, Bengaluru chased down the total with 10 overs remaining. Bengaluru's Suyash Sharma also took Home Player of the Match award. Gujarat will face Mumbai in an IPL eliminator today. Punjab's New Chandigarh ground host will the key IPL event. The losing side will crash out of the race to IPL finals, while the winning side will face Punjab in a second qualifier clash. Indian Cricket Board (BCCI) said that Australia will tour India for a 3-match women's ODI series in September. BCCI said the series will serve as a crucial preparation ground ahead of the Women's Cricket World later this year. In football, a court in Argentina declared a mistrial in the homicide case against Diego Maradona's medical team. The football legend passed away in November 2020 due to heart failure. 7 members of his medical team were charged with negligent homicide in a trial that began on March 11. The date for the new trial has not been yet announced. Chelsea agreed a deal to sign Ipswich striker Liam Delap. The Blues will meet Delap's $40 million release clause in his Ipswich contract. Ipswich were relegated from the Premier League during the just concluded season. In tennis, women's world number 2 Coco Gauff entered the 3rd round of French Open. The American beat Czech Republic's Teresa Valetova 6-2, 6-4. After winning the match, Gauff repeated the call that women's singles matches must get the primetime slot at Roland Garros. Women's world number 4 Jessica Pegula also entered the 3rd round of French Open. The American beat her fellow countrywoman Anne Lee with straight sets in the 2nd round. In the men's single at French Open, Serbian icon Novak Djokovic and men's world number 1 Yannick Sinner advanced to the 3rd round. Djokovic beat his rival from France 6-3, 6-2, 7-6. Sinner also got past another Frenchman Richard Gasquet with a straight set win. In athletics, it was a day of gold medals for Indian athletes at Asian Athletics Championship in South Korea. Steeplechaser Avinash Sable and hurdler Jyoti Yariraj won the gold medals. The women's 4x400 meters relay team also dashed to a 3rd gold for India. India took their medals count to 14 with 2 days of competition remaining. In Formula One, Mercedes boss Toto Wolff suggests he expects a Ferrari to have the potential to benefit most from the F1 rule change on flexi wings. The Formula One governing body FIA has released a technical directive in January. FIA announced more stringent flexibility tests on front wings starting the 9th round of the F1 season in Barcelona. And finally, let's get into the world of entertainment. Euphoria star Sydney Sweeney has turned fan curiosity into business venture. This is by launching a soap made with her actual bathwater. In partnership with Dr. Squatch, the quirky product is called Sydney's Bathwater Bliss. It is being marketed as a fun and fragrant novelty. Sweeney says the idea is weird in the best way and promises it delivers on quality too. Nielsen's new multi-platform ratings reveal Squid Game as the most watched show of 2024-25 season. CBS Tracker and Netflix's Adolescence also ranked high. Traditional network shows like ABC's High Potential and CBS Matlock saw strong viewership both on and via streaming. The data shows a rebound for linear TV alongside streaming platforms. Jenna Ortega revealed she nearly passed on playing Wednesday Addams. Concerned about being typecast, she hesitated until director Tim Burton convinced her. Ortega now says she relates to Wednesday's emotional honesty and outsider status. The role, she admits, changed her career and became a cultural phenomenon she never expected. K-pop icon Lisa, a member of Blackpink, will be the focus of a new documentary by Sony Music Vision. The film will explore her rise from global pop star to solo performer and actor. It was announced during a Sony Upfront event in Hollywood, alongside other music film projects from director Baz Luhrmann and Frank Marshall. And artists including Dua Lipa, Massive Attack and Annie Lennox have signed an open letter demanding the UK end arms sales to Israel. The letter, organized by charity Choose Love, criticizes the government for licensing arms exports and calls for immediate action over the ongoing war in Gaza. The signatories accuse leaders of enabling war crimes by doing too little too late. That's all for today. Thank you for joining us. I am Gushin Galan and we'll see you right back.